I told you this was coming. There's no way to avoid it. It's inevitable. And as clickbait as you might think my titles are, is there a difference between clickbait and opinion? And what happens when opinion becomes fact? One current and one laid-off employee estimated that only about 150 people remain at the company. That's TechCrunch. Today. Welcome to part 2 of 2. We've already established the bag holders. And yes, if you see one of them commenting in public or on a forum or in a group that I'm definitely not allowed in anymore. Fun fact and aside on that, apparently there's no more social media teams, so we'll see how active these groups continue to be. Feel free to just respond with bag holder, or you could always use the emoji. The greed, and how Fisker got out way before any of this bad stuff happened.
No, I cannot comment on that.
It's all in part 1. The graveyard, which may have gotten you a part today, but is proof that there won't be any parts tomorrow. And the moral dilemma of being an ex-employee and a current employee. And we know from the intro there aren't many of these left. So let's talk about what happened today, at least the day I'm making this video, and that's the layoffs. The training team, the UI team, most of the higher-ups, some of the technicians, they've all been let go. Fisker is almost completely done. Except Natasha Fisker, she's still on the payroll. This is the first thing I found on Reddit from employees who were let go in this round. Henrik has been reporting that there are talks with multiple companies, organizations, banks, etc. for over 6 months. Personally, I think it's a bunch of baloney. The one thing about leadership is that they did not communicate anything. It was pure silence for days and weeks on end. Leadership did not care about how the company would survive, but how they can keep making themselves money, even if that means effing over employees and customers. I can't really say anything much on the chief restructuring officer, however, it was much more strict as far as everyone being tight-lipped. From my point of view, this was always the route Fisker was going to end up taking. There's no avoiding it. The focus of the teams has been, quote, survival mode, end quote, up until the layoffs today. I'm sure that will continue for the next few weeks until June 28th, but I don't see anything happening that will keep this ship sailing. Internally, everybody was anxious, depressed, and quite frankly, over the toxicity of the environment. It is somewhat of a breath of fresh air, not coming to work, wondering if my access will be cut. How easy will it be to get parts when they die? Even with them alive, you couldn't get parts. Do you have any faith in Fisker being bought up by another automaker? Is their game plan just to try and sell cars before a Chapter 7 or 11? Someone could come out of the blue and buy Fisker tomorrow. However, I have no faith that anything will happen. The people who were let go today were the backbone of this company. They are liquidating all of their assets to pay off their lien holders. Why couldn't owners actually get service records, repair records, etc. after many requests? Unfortunately, I don't have a good answer for this. What I can say is that Fisker has zero organizational skills. Any developers working on the missing software features retained, wondering the likelihood of 3.0 coming to owners. From what I've seen and heard, even getting past 2.1 is a long shot for them. User Fisker Inc., are you still with us? Hasn't responded in 2 days. RIP. End times are near. Aside from the money, this one hurts me personally more than almost anything else, and that's the precedent. The whole reason this channel exists is because I believe in electrification as one of the steps forward in order for us to continue to exist on this planet. But Fisker Inc. has set a precedent that EVs are just fraud. 5 LiDARs, L4,
autonomous driving,
27-inch screen, butterfly doors, 400-mile range, 775 horsepower.
Anyone involved is just involved in fraud. And it's going to take years for that precedent to erode because of the experience they had with this company. There's not a whole lot of detail here, but all of it's obvious.
This allows you to charge in 1 minute and get more than 700 miles if you want.
Nothing sustainable about that. The next point I'd like to discuss is the market, and I saw this coming, and I've documented it, and I posted it, and I even gave you advice on how to avoid it happening to you, at least any worse than it already has. The auctions have begun. The vehicles are selling for cheap. I had somebody say they got one for $12,500. I don't know what state it was in. Most of them are going somewhere in the lower 20s at this point. And eventually every dealership in the country, or at least the network they have access to value their cars, will know this. And your trade of $25,000, $27,000, $22,500 are out the window. You'll never see a value like that ever again. So is there more money to be lost in the Fisker Ocean market? Yes. You can get in if you'd like. I would only get in if you need a parts car, you plan on selling the parts for money in the future, you have plenty of space to keep them, or you plan on building a home battery and have extensive experience, knowledge, certification, and expertise in that category. And those dealership options sitting there at all these Fisker dealerships that I feel really, really bad for right now, well, $34,999 is not happening. Not if the auctions are in the 20s. And obviously, we have to talk about the cars. Worst car in the world, question mark, really, question mark. My car was delivered with the window switch not connected to the rear passenger window. The rear passenger door came apart to the point it wouldn't close in less than 2 months of ownership. The hardware for the rear interior lights was obviously faulty and forced me to have service unplug them after causing the most anxiety-inducing 2 hours of a road trip I have ever experienced. So if you go after that Ocean Sport at C. Harper Honda, you won't have the rear light issue. These are hardware problems. So when someone mentions build quality, on the software side, the car has no auto high beam, making it really annoying to drive at night. No adaptive cruise, no one-pedal driving, no seat memory, no voice commands, no battery preconditioning. I dare you to find another car for what the Ocean costs right now retail that doesn't have most, if not all of those things. And I didn't even mention the single key.
Those that want to call us weak or pitiful or risk-averse or not early adopters.
The rumor is, and join me as I move into the speculation zone, knowing where we're going and how it might not be real. But the rumor is that 3.0 software is finished. It's just they don't know how to deliver it. It's so big, the module updates are so vast that only a technician supervising the update will be able to implement it into the car, which means every single Ocean will need an individual person to arrive, update the car, and then, well, I guess be there to service all the new bugs that come with it as well. It's a pretty vast update. And since if you have a problem right now, you can't even get regular service, how is that going to take place? 3.0 is a 12-volt killer, and there's no remedy right now. And if you want to know what the remedy is, all you have to do is get someone to install that software for you and then observe as all of the crashes are the consequences of your ownership. And then I guess after all those events are documented very well, then someone could address them and try to make the corrections, because we know this software has not been tested. Somebody asked me about Fiskerify, and if it's a real thing, yes, it's a real thing. It's an API. Just head to the website. There's a lot of data on there that you may be interested in. And that's my current update on the cars. Then we have the owners, the ones who have to deal with the physical coins that FSRN left behind. The result of all the deception. Some of you are staying in because you want those updates. You want the things that you paid for. You deserve to have them, and I understand. Some of you have chosen to get out, and I'm not the only person that has chosen to get out. Brian got a Volvo. I've got a viewer that traded for a Mach-E. Another viewer traded for a Solterra. One of my patrons got an NX 450H Plus, which is a plug-in hybrid Lexus. They're all moving to plug-in cars. And, delightfully for them, those plug-in cars are finished and have complete feature sets and don't have errors all the time. But if you own a Fisker Ocean and you want to keep it and you do feel you deserve those updates, send me an email at adamsevreviews@yahoo.com. People get information, they give it to me. I take information that I've found, I compile it, I share it here on the channel, and I'm definitely here to help you solve whatever problems you might have. I was an owner. I fully understand what you're going through. And then there's me. And because I'm not an owner, Fisker can't retaliate anymore. They can't do something to my car or refuse service because they know I'm a YouTuber out here telling the objective truth about their company. I mean, they can threaten my family in the comments, but I'm no stranger to that at this point. My goal is to figure out what went wrong, who caused it, who said what actions were taken, and what, if any of those things, were a crime. If you want to help me, once again, adamsevreviews@yahoo.com. I've got people on the case. That's as far as I'll take it here on this public video. And I've been covering the Fisker Ocean for 53 months, 2 of which I owned the car. Most of my subscribers came during a time when I didn't own an Ocean, but I was reporting on the company because I believed the truth needed to be expressed, and I did the best I could to provide the information I could find at the time people were asking for it. If you still believe I can provide those things, feel free to subscribe. I've got a new special announcement. It goes out to my patrons and YouTube members first, before the end of this month, if not at the very beginning of June, but probably by the end of this month. And it's consumer focused and here to help you
just like everything else I do on this channel. If that sounds good, subscribe, and you'll find out what it is. We'll see you on the next one.
Hey! Smash the like button!
Thank you.